Finally, ladies and gentlemen, finally, it is over. It is finally over. International break. Oh my God. It is finally over, man. What a boring ass. What was it? Week and a half, almost 2 weeks of just nothing. Just nothing. No entertainment at all in the footballing world. The only entertaining ish thing that happened was the U20 World Cup. That was pretty much it. But besides that, all these international games, they were so boring. Like, there was no point in watching them. Literally no point in watching them. Like, last international break was kind of bearable just because, I'm a South American, so watching those World Cup qualifiers for South America, they're entertaining. Messi's last game in Argentina, so much things, better things going on compared to this international break. But finally it is over, and finally club football is back. The Premier League, La Liga, everything pertaining to club football, it is back. And that means the best club in the world, the most beautiful club in the world, FC Barcelona, is back tomorrow against Girona. 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 Listen, we already know all the pain, the suffering that you, Barcelona, have made us fans go through these last couple weeks. The pain, losing to PSG, losing to Sevilla in an embarrassing manner. Embarrassing. But now it is time for redemption. And what does redemption mean? Of course, it means win, because we cannot afford to lose. We cannot afford to drop any more points. Come on, we're still on Real Madrid's ass. So let's keep it that way. Let's keep it that way, because on Sunday they play Getafe. There might be a chance they might drop points. We already know the Harambo. They have to go away to Getafe, so they could potentially drop points. But then that means we have to do our job. We have to do our job. We have to beat Girona. So 1, we have to beat Girona. 2, I want to see Girona players cry. I want to see suffering in their eyes. And what does that mean? All that pain, all that suffering that you went through against PSG and Sevilla. Grab it. Put it in your head. Remember it. Remember everything. And put it on the motherfucking pitch when you play against Girona. And destroy them. Barbecue chicken them. Bend them over and tell them who's daddy. Alright? I want to see suffering from Girona tomorrow. I want to see 4, 5, 6, something that crazy in those lines. You have to do that. You have to. Because you already made it 4-1 to Sevilla. 2-1 to PSG. In total, that's 6 goals that we conceded in 2 games. So I want to see minimum 6 goals against Girona tomorrow. Because Girona, they're fighting relegation right now. They're relegated. They're fighting relegation. I think they're bottom of the table. So that means you better you better, Barca. Barca is a must-win tomorrow. We all know tomorrow is a must-win. Everyone understands that tomorrow is a must-win. Not only because we want to stay on Real Madrid's ass, but because we need to obviously get our confidence back. Get our confidence back from the terrible weeks that we've been going through these last couple of weeks. Terrible form, not good enough football, not efficient going forward, defensively all over the place. A lot of mistakes that Barcelona have made, we have to correct. Because these next 3 games that are coming up, Girona, Olympiacos in the Champions League, and then next week, Real Madrid. This is an important week. Because we cannot lose against Girona, because they're going to drop points more in the league, give Real Madrid more of an advantage. We can't drop any more points in the Champions League, because we already lost once. Okay, against PSG, it's fine. You can accept it, because it's a big team. But against Olympiacos, you cannot do that. And then, of course, El Clásico, man. El Clásico. We already know how it is, but we'll talk about El Clásico. We still have a lot of time before we can talk about El Clásico. But yes, quickly, we're going to go over the expected lineups that I think Barcelona will go with, and obviously a lot of the news that have been coming out recently with Barcelona, the injuries mostly, the news of a lot of injuries. But yeah, it's an early game at 10:15 a.m. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch the game live. I will have to watch it back. But you guys know, I'm not going to give you guys a match review without actually watching the game. So, of course, I'm going to rewatch the game, see what happened, and then obviously give you guys a proper match review. Like I did with Sevilla. Sevilla, I didn't watch live. I couldn't watch it live. And then, thankfully, I did it. But then I watched it back and gave you guys a proper match review. So, I will be watching the game back. Hopefully, it's not the same case as Sevilla. But, yeah, early kickoff. We're playing at home. But, again, it's a matter of, like, we're second place. We're only 2 points behind Real Madrid, so we're still in their ass. Again, they're good. They have to play Girona. Getafe, which should be a difficult match, maybe, potentially, hopefully. Getafe hopefully can do something against Real Madrid. We'll see. We're at Getafe right now. They're my monitor is kind of far from me right now. They're 11th place, so maybe they can do something. Hopefully, but look at Girona. They're fighting relegation right now. They're in 17th place, 6 points. 6 points. They just won their first game against Valencia, 2-1, and they got a red card. Damn, Valencia, you're trash. But it's just a matter of like. This should be an easy dub, right? Realistically, this should be an easy dub. Realistically, we should be winning this game. We should be getting an easy 3 points. But the way, again, Barcelona have been playing, the system, the confidence of the players going forward, everyone basically, it's very concerning. It's very concerning. And as much as I'm confident that we're going to get the win, I'm still a little bit concerned that Girona definitely watch back that Sevilla game, and they're going to be like, all right, let's try to hit them the same way, right? But as much as I expect them to try and do that, I also expect HANSI Flick to fix his errors. How he's going to do that? That's the question. That's the main question of how HANSI Flick is going to fix those errors that he made against Sevilla, that he made in some points against PSG. How are we going to fix that considering we're not playing our strongest lineup? We're not playing our strongest team, right? Because again, with the injury problem, the injury crisis we have right now, we're missing a lot of key players. And let's quickly go over them. So, Hansi Flick stated that Lamine Yamal and Fermin Lopez will return, but they cannot play for 90 minutes. So that already is telling me that they're not going to start. That Lamine or Fermin are not going to start. And I personally wouldn't start them either. Lamine Yamal, when he came back, we forced him back for the PSG game, basically. And it was unnecessary. Because again, as much as that game was important and I wanted to win it, it's also a matter of if we lost that game, it wasn't a big deal in terms of, we're gonna be out of the Champions League. There's no chance now. No, it was more of a bragging rights kind of thing, right? So if we already had concern of Lamine Yamal being unfit, that he wasn't ready to play that game, then we probably shouldn't have, right? But it's a big game, of course. He wants to play, and we would want to play him too. But this is as much as this is also an important game. It's against Girona. We don't have to start Lamine Yamal. There's no point of starting Lamine Yamal. Save him for Olympiacos and have him fully ready for Real Madrid. Because, again, realistically, against Girona and Olympiacos, we should be beating them quite easily. We really should be beating them quite easily without the likes of Lamine Yamal. So, hopefully, we were able to do that, but I don't think Fermin or Lamine Yamal will be playing this game or not starting this game. I think they'll get a couple minutes towards the end of the game maybe. Or let's say in worst case scenario, we're getting cooked. We're having a very difficult match and we have to bring them in to save us maybe. But hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we just bring them in as we're, cruising through the game. We bring them in, just cause a little bit more of a danger. But I don't think Lamine or Fermin will be starting this game, which is giving even more question marks as to what the starting 11 could be. Because the other player that's out is Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres will be missing the game against Girona as well. I think he might make it back for Olympiacos and Clásico. He should probably make it back too. Again, I'm seeing so many reports that I'm at this point I'm so confused. I know the ones that are definitely missing these next couple games are Gavi, 100%, Joan Garcia, I'm pretty sure, and Lewandowski. I'm pretty sure those are the three players that are 100% missing the game. Rafinha, there's some doubts. Ferran, there's some doubts. Lamine, Fermin, and Balde are back. So those are the three players that are 100% missing. Two players that are having some doubts. But, hopefully we will get them back for the Clásico. But as of now, we have to work with what we got. But Ferran Torres is going to be out. Again, even more question marks. But then I saw this tweet. And it piqued my interest. I was like, oh, man, that got some potential. Because just think about the PSG game. When this next film I'm going to show you, just think about the PSG game, what they did against us. Hansi Flick has tested Alejandro Balde on the left wing during the training session. I mean, if there's anyone who can play as a left winger, if there's anyone who can fill in for that role, it's Alejandro Balde, isn't it, right? Isn't it? And that leads to the predicted lineups. Boom! Boom! Oh, yeah. So, okay, I'm dragging it a little bit here. I'm saying, okay, let's just calm down. Let's just take it in for a little bit, all right? Szczesny in goal. Backline of Jules Koundé, Eric Garcia, Pau Cubarsí, and Gerard Martin. Midfield of Marc Casado, Frankie de Jong, and Pedri González. And up top, Rooney, Rashford, and Alejandro Balde. Tell me that doesn't look interesting to you. Tell me that doesn't look kind of all right. That could potentially work. Listen, if there's a couple, I think with the back line, I think this should be the back line that we go with. I think this should be the back line that we go with because if there's one player from this back line that 100% deserves to start, no matter what, that is Eddie Garcia. Eddie Garcia 100% deserves to start. He's been our best defender throughout the season so far. You cannot ruin his form right now by taking him out. You have to start Eddie Garcia. Now, if that means putting him even as a right back, then go ahead and then put Araujo there. Okay, cool. But Eddie Garcia 100% has to start this game. He deserves it. He's been the best so far. And then, again, I was thinking in my head, maybe put Eddie Garcia on as a right back and then put Ronald Araujo as a center back because I still have that feeling that Hansi Flick wants to trust Ronald Araujo and Cubarsí as our main pairing going from now into the future. Which okay, I could understand a bit. I like to see the likes of Christensen, but I think one player he 100% trust is Cubarsí. Right now, he's the main guy for Hansi Flick since last season and going into the season that he wants to keep Cubarsí because of what he can offer us. So I don't see him benching Cubarsí, but the other guy right now, if he's gonna have to pick between Christensen, Araujo, and Eddie Garcia, it has to be Eddie Garcia. He's been on form. Again, if that means putting him as a right back even and then putting Araujo as a center back if he really wants to do that, go ahead because Jules Koundé hasn't been in the best form either. So if he deserves a bench, he deserves a bench. But at the same time, I think Jules Koundé should continue being our right back that we trust from now and through the season because of how great he was last season. I still believe that he can be that kind of right back for us, but it's just a matter of getting him back in form. And what does that mean? He has to play. You can't really bench him because then he's not going to get that form. I don't know what it is with him. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a physical thing because again, this is something I've said a lot of times now. Jules Koundé has been one of the players that we have played the most all of last season. So maybe he's tired. Who knows? But if we want to get the best out of him eventually, he has to play. So I would rather start him as a right back and then put Eddie Garcia and Cubarsí as a center back pairing. And they haven't done bad playing together. And then Gerard Martin obviously is a left back because I have the other guy playing up top. Midfield, Casado, Frankie de Jong, and Pedri. Listen, for the midfield, I wanted Pedri to be subbed. But then seeing the news about Fermin, I wasn't sure that he was going to start this game. So I'm like, all right, so Flick is going to have to be forced to play Pedri. And we all understand Pedri is such an important player for us. And realistically, when we're thinking about, these guys going forward are not going to offer you much, right? They'll offer that one little pass, that one little, pass in between the lines, breaking the lines, that one little through pass, that one little over the top. But going forward, driving the ball themselves, creating danger in those tight spaces themselves, they're not really going to offer that. The only player that can really offer that besides Fermin and Dani Olmo at times is Pedri Gonzalez. So I think Pedri has to start this game. Obviously the other players that you can look at are the likes of Dro. I was thinking about him, but at the same time, we're at a place right now where we can't really afford playing these young players. We really can't afford to play these guys, risking, another bad performance, another bad result playing these youngsters, right? I personally, I would start Dro. I wouldn't have a problem if Joe started because last time when he played against Real Sociedad, when he started, he had a lot of confidence. I thought technically on the ball he did great. I thought he had, he played with confidence, great link-up play. Maybe a little physically, he really wasn't there at times. He's still a very young player. But if he starts this game, I really wouldn't have a problem. But then the question mark is going to be who's on the left, who's on the as a striker, right? Those are the question marks. So that's why I'm putting Pedri right now. But don't be surprised if Joe starts. I wouldn't really be surprised. But if Joe does start, then I would like to see Pedri get benched because I think he needs a little bit of rest and then bring him into the second half if Casado isn't performing, right? It depends on that. But again, without Pedri on the pitch itself, we're losing a lot. We're losing a lot without Pedri. We all understand how important Pedri is and how great he is. And then up top, Rashford, Rooney, and Balde. Rooney, obviously, because Lamine Yamal can't really start. Rashford up top because we don't have anyone else. Ferran and Lewan are out. And then Balde on the left. Listen, Balde on the left, I don't know if we've ever tried it. Again, Balde basically all of last season was our left winger, right? He was basically our left winger, how confident he is going forward and attacking, right? Obviously, he doesn't offer you the same qualities as an attacker, that finishing, being great at finishing or maybe not the best in the final third. but at least he can cause some problems. He can cause some dangers. He has the confidence as a winger type player to go at attackers. I'm pretty sure as a young player, he was an attacker. He was a left winger, right? So he has that confidence in him to do that. And that's why I said, remember the PSG game against Nuno Mendes, where Luis Enrique put Nuno Mendes as a left winger, basically because of what he can offer. That one-on-one take on ability, having that confidence to do it, how quick he is as well, how he's going to just zoom through players. Alejandro Balde can 100% do that and, cause some problems. Of course, now being efficient in the final third, that's the main concern that I have. But again, it's just a question mark of who else we can really play. Because if we're going to start Fermin, then maybe Fermin can start on the left-hand side because Hansi Flick has played Fermin on the left-hand side a lot of times. So maybe that could be the potential right there of what we can see. Again, it's very a bit concerning and a bit confusing as to what Hansi Flick can really go for this game, considering the amount of injuries that we have, and considering that we maybe have to reserve some players. Considering again a lot of big games coming up that we have to focus 100% on, and the Clásico being the main one, right? But again, I wouldn't say like this is something crazy right here. Like I wouldn't say if we saw Bali on the left wing side, like maybe people will be like, what? Oh, what is he doing? Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like, who else do we have on the left wing side? Who else do we really have? Who else are we going to really play up top? There's literally no one else that we can really play. Like, let's just be honest. We have no one else that we can play. Unless, again, he's just going to play, all right, Fermin, you just play because we have no one else, so you have to play. All right, then Fermin will be over here and then Rashford up top, right? But I don't know. Like, I'd rather see Bali on the left-hand side than put Fermin here because I don't think Fermin on the left-hand side really does much for you. I don't think he's really going to do much for you on the left-hand side. I've seen him play on the left-hand side, and I don't like it. I'd rather have Balde there, who at least is going to just run at players, have that confidence of doing it. Now, again, the main concern I also have is Rashford playing up top. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really seen Girona play, so I don't know if they're really defensive or whatever, but if they are, then Rashford is going to have a difficult game because we know in those kind of games, he's not going to do the best for you, but hey, it's what we got right now. It's literally all we got in this game. But listen, we can really change this up. We can really change this up. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Hansi Flick decides to put Araujo there. I think Eder Garcia has to start. Like I don't think there's any questions as to Eder Garcia starting this game, either as a right back or as a center back. Again, if Koundé has to be benched, he has to be benched. He hasn't been the best so far. Putting Fermin here. And I think that's practically the other lineup he can go. If he thinks Fermin is ready to play, then go ahead. I don't know. This his quote says different. That he says he's not ready to play for 90 minutes. Of course, that means he can get subbed off in the second half, early in the second half, right? He could start. He could play 45 minutes, right? When I'm not talking about playing 90 minutes, but when I read that, I'm more like, all right, he's probably gonna come into the second half, not start the game because he hasn't played in a while now. So it's kind of weird to really do that, right? But man, listen, it's a lot of question marks. I'm really confused as to what Hansi Flick does. Again, whatever he does, I'm going to trust. If he wants to play Joe in the middle, go ahead and then put Pedri here because he understands that Pedri is hard to bench. I guess you got to do what you got to do. If he wants to force Fermin to start this game, go ahead. I think Lamine is the one player that we cannot start. I think Lamine should be benched and start Rooney. Give more confidence to Rooney, see what he can do. But the main thing that I'm expecting from this game, the main thing that I want from this game is just a bounce back. We all want a bounce back. We all want a response from this Barcelona side, who, again, these last couple of weeks haven't looked the greatest. Even from the beginning of the season, I think there's been a lot of problems, but now it's time to fix up and learn from those mistakes, learn from those problems. And these next couple of games, again, they're very important, and we're going to see how much this Barcelona side has really learned and improved. How much they have... they're willing to improve, and how much Hansi Flick is also willing to improve and maybe change things up. Again, football, this is the reality of football, and this is the reality of how great managers are made as well. If you have to change things, if the situation forces you to change things, then you have to do it. You have to do it. Listen, I'm still very confident that we can win this game. I'm still very confident that we can beat Girona. Realistically, we should, considering our standings, considering how the bad form Girona have been in. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Girona... again, just look at what Sevilla did, look at what PSG did, look at what other teams have done to us, and then boom, try to play off that game, play that kind of game to beat us. Because again, our high line has problems. If the other areas that we're continuing to make mistakes, we still continue to make those mistakes. If we don't prove the other mistakes, it's just not about the high line; it's about other factors. If those other factors aren't fixed, then again, the high line is going to get exposed. I think efficiently, we just have to be way more efficient going forward. The chances we get, we have to take them. We have to take them. And again, we cannot allow Girona to like just play free flow football like we allowed Sevilla to do against us. We cannot allow that. We have to put pressure immediately, always be on them, and be effective going forward. Always be effective going forward, and not make stupid mistakes. That's the main thing. But again, don't be surprised if Girona do play well against us. They could probably do something against us. The last thing I want is for them, for it to be a tight game where we have to depend on Lamine Yamal coming off the bench. Because at the same time, as much as we know Lamine can come off the bench and cause problems, it's also a matter of, all right, look, they're bringing Lamine in. Let's focus on Lamine. Let's just lock up Lamine. And then what's he going to do? And then we're going to be like, oh, wait, Lamine couldn't do anything. And then a lot of chatter, a lot of talk again of Lamine, Barcelona. A lot of things are going to be said, right? But tomorrow must be, it has to be a win. Like, no excuses. No excuses at all. If we lose tomorrow or we even tie, man, it's going to leave a lot of bad sensations going forward. A lot of bad sensations. Again, injuries can definitely be an excuse, but I think there's limits. There's also limits because the one thing that haven't been injured, the one part of our team that hasn't been injured has been our defense. So that's and kind of our midfield, right? Frankie and Pedri is still available, right? And Casado's still there too. It's only been our 10 that's really been injured, right? So I still expect these players to perform, and we have enough talent to perform and get results against these sides, again, who aren't at anywhere near their best. Anywhere near their best. So Barcelona, do your job. Do your job because, again, Real Madrid play Getafe. They might drop points, and then we can go back on top. And then we go to any battles. We sweep them. We destroy them. We're going back on top in the leaderboard in the Champions League. And then we go to Sunday, Bernabeu, 5-0, another 5-0, another 4-0. Boom, even further. Like, come on, bro. This could be a beautiful week. But it all starts tomorrow against Girona. So let's get the job done. Let's get the job done. But yeah, guys, that was the video for today. Let me know down in the comments. How are you feeling about this game? Are you optimistic or are you concerned? Are you concerned? If you are concerned, let me know down in the comments what your concerns are. But like always, Visca Barca, hopefully we win and get the job done. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time we upload. Share your friends that love football, guys. We are close to 500 subscribers. What are you doing? I know right now you are not subscribed. So click the subscribe button before I find you. Do it. But yeah, guys, much love. Take care and peace.